So. All right. I think when it comes to family history and the relevance that it has for family who have spent abroad being diaspora, my favorite part of it is going to be my grandfather.
My name is Aryono Pusponegoro. I'm a professor of surgery and I wrote books. Up to now, I wrote already maybe around 20 books already. And since 1980 up to last year, I helped manage 101 disasters in Indonesia. And now I'm retired, but still working, still teaching.
Now, the story here is that for his undergrad, my grandfather was in Czechoslovakia in Prague.
1960. I was there up to 1967 or 68. I came back home.
As with most diaspora groups, the core challenge that met him there was the language, for sure.
I studied the Czech language. It's terrible because you start with this is nose, this is your. In the beginning, some completely you don't understand anything. I remember the first exam when I started to talk to the professor said, "I don't understand what you're talking about. Why don't you sit in a corner, make a good sentence, and come back?" They are very nice, really. Very welcome. A professor, he always remembers all the names of the father or the mother of all the students. He's a professor of anatomy. And when he came in for lecture, he took the bones of the body of people. He just threw it around. If you got it, then you got to go forward and explain about that bone. Makes you study hard, really.
Of course, not a lot of Indonesian students were able to study abroad at the time, so I asked him exactly how he got to Prague.
The newspaper, there's advertisement from the Czech embassy that they expect Indonesian students that you will get free tutorials. So I applied and I got accepted, so I went. No, and there were about 30 people in my group, not only medical students, it's only me, myself, and then one of my friends, and then Ayang Putri. 3 medical students. The rest they are in whatever their field, see.
Now, I know in Ayang Kakung's case, he frequented the Indonesian embassy in Prague as well and got to know a lot of the diplomatic staff there.
And the embassy always invited us, and so we went there, got some information about Indonesia. We were 200 students, and 100 students always goes to this Communist Party representative in Prague. So they cannot come back. The Suharto regime took their passport away. When I came back here also, I was taken to the military police headquarters, Jalan Guntur. I got interrogated, and most of them became citizen of Czechoslovakia. So they don't have Indonesian passport, but some of them ran away to Sweden or to Holland, most to Holland.
There was an invasion by the Soviets at around that time.
I was there.
The citizens of Prague knew the full meaning of occupation by force. The Russians, while supposedly their allies, were not wanted. The fighting spirit of many Czechs was aroused. They retaliated against overwhelming power. But it showed the free world, and Russia too, that their desire to shape their own destiny was stronger even than the heaviest tank or the biggest gun.
At the end of my stay there, the Russians came. They invaded Prague from all sides, and all the tanks came to the city. You know how they came? They dropped tanks from the airplane and went through the airport, went around, and just right over the cars who are parked by the street, and it's just terror. And they keep on shooting around. It's crazy. We cannot get even to the embassy. We stay in the dormitory. We cannot go there. Because everywhere are tanks. In every street corner there are tanks there.
Naturally, Eyang Kakong was forced to go back home. But what's interesting is that Eyang Kakong had actually intended to go back home in the first place, to fulfill that diasporic myth of return.
In the beginning, when I finished my studies there, I got proposals from oil company in Aljazair and from Sweden to work there. I said, no, I'm going to finish this surgical residency in trauma and reconstruction, but I'm going home. That's my intention. Of course, I'm more comfortable in Indonesia because Indonesia is fantastic. You can do anything here. Just work hard and you can achieve anything you want.
Now, we've heard a lot of stories as well when it comes to diaspora coming back home and finding it difficult to find jobs, economic opportunities, social cohesion to a lot of extent as well. So I asked him about that. Uniquely though, Eyang Kakong seemed rather established career-wise in Prague before being called back home, which was precipitated by the war as well, of course.
Then I was in the third semester already as a resident of surgery. Then came Professor Jamaluddin. His Professor Jamaluddin is from Jakarta, from the Department of Surgery. And he said, what are you doing? Come back home. So I said, okay, I'll go home. But when I arrived here, the rule is that everybody who came from abroad must do 1 year adaptation course. They said, you are not a doctor. So I reported to Professor Jamaluddin, what am I going to do? They said, I'm not a doctor. I said, okay, you come with me. And you work in the Department of Surgery. Any problem, you come to me. He took me under his wing. But then one day, Suharto must be operated. So I must assist Professor Jamaluddin to do the surgery. I was interrogated too. And Suharto must have a second opinion after several years. I was asked to assist him. I said, no, I'm going to Bali. That's why I took my whole family to Bali. I'm not going to go to Guntur again to be interrogated because I'm afraid if I said the wrong word, I'm in trouble. And the problem is, like this diaspora program, why doesn't it work in Indonesia? Because when somebody came from abroad, finished their studies, you got difficulties from your colleague. Like I did, I got difficulties from my own colleague. You see? And you got to struggle to show it that you know it, you can do it. So that's the problem. I got a colleague Indonesian, a professor who became a professor in Germany. But when he came back here, he got no position. But I was the head of the Department of Surgery. That's also amazing that I became the president of the Indonesian College of Surgeons. I said, okay, you come here. Then I gave him permission to do surgery in Indonesia. Then he worked up to now, and well, he's doing well. But the other surgeons doesn't want to work together with him. I took him under my wing.
Did you meet Eyang Leo in Prague, Eyang? Or?
Yeah, he came after me. 2 years after me, Mr. Leo. Then he came back here, went to Kamlu, and up the ladder, and became an ambassador to Prague. And he made the trade relation with Prague flourish, Mr. Leo.
I think it's always important to have people that you're familiar with around you.
Luckily, your Eyang Putri was there. My first thing in my mind is to take her to the bar. But she refused. She wants to go to the library. And in the library, I cannot even talk to her. You start to talk in the library, but said, I don't know what to do. Then there's a book, so I took the book. Then I start to read. Then I realized that to read the book is beautiful. And well, I started to study, to read, and read on, and do the medical school there, study hard, and I graduated this cum laude.
So, us the grandkids, we only know on a surface level that our grandfather, Eyang Kakung, went to Prague to study medicine, but we never really scratched anything below the surface. We never got into any detail. So through this project, I'm very interested to find out that detail and see exactly how his time there went and what sorts of stories we'll be able to tell people.
So I got a lot of experience, so I know, and I like to share that. That's why I wrote the books. And the last book, like I said, is that the manual for layman in emergency care is because there are too many people who died unnecessarily. My professor told me one day, he said, Aryo, you must help the people in problem, the sick, accidents. That's why I developed the emergency ambulance service, 118 emergency ambulance service, and hoping it will save lives. So that's it.